Level 1. You step into the box of steel. Buttons glow like distant stars. A polite chime. Doors sigh closed. Routine. You press the floor. The elevator moves. Then it does not. A rumble. A shudder. Lights dip. The hum becomes silence. The elevator breathes and stops. You are exactly where you were and nowhere else. Your phone shows no bars. The emergency button blinks like a small pleading eye. You press it. A recorded voice, calm and hollow. We are aware of your situation. We apologize for the inconvenience. No human reply. You tap the walls. Cold metal. No give. The air tastes denser. Your chest tightens. Microclaustrophobia. Macro time. Seconds. Minutes. An elastic band stretched until it snaps. You take a breath. It feels wrong. Tiny noises register. A cooling pipe. A distant thump. The blood in your ears. Something slides across your mind. The smallest dread. A name you never wanted to whisper. Your worst fear. Not out there. Here. Right here. In the room with you. You do not know when it arrived. It was always a possibility. Now it is present. The elevator feels smaller still. Light bends. Shadows become edges. You hold the button, waiting for rescue that sounds like a rumor. Your breath is the loudest thing in the world. Level 2. It begins with a sound. Not a howl. A whisper. Familiar cadence. It mirrors your heartbeat. It is patient. It catalogs you. The lights flicker once, twice. Reflections in the stainless steel blur. You see shapes that are not you. A silhouette lingers near the control panel. You step forward. Your hand trembles. Your fingers find only cold metal. You blink. The silhouette is between floors of certainty and doubt. It breathes the air like it owns it. No eyes, only intent. Your stomach drops as if the elevator is falling. You catch yourself reaching for the emergency hatch. It is locked. Your fingernails scrape the seam. The sound scrapes more than metal. It scrapes memory. Every avoided corridor. Every postponed call. Every time you let silence take the place of speech. Fear keeps a ledger. It tallies every moment you turned away. And now the balance is due. You think of all the ways you could leave. Climb the shaft. Pry the door. Kick and scream until someone hears you. Every option seems both feasible and impossibly far. The whisper becomes words. It recites the worst-case scenes of your life like a hypnotist. You hear last year's failures, the jokes you meant to make and didn't, the chances you let rot. It knows how to hurt you with your own archive. You curl inward. Your lungs forget how to expand fully. Adrenaline shows its gray teeth. You either become prey to this script or you write a new line. Level 3. You are not a spectator. You are on stage. The walls become mirrors. Your reflection multiplies. One version of you leans, another cowers, a third laughs without sound. The worst fear steps closer. It does not need to move fast. Slow is crueler. Small things begin to happen. The ventilation sighs and a scent rises. A smell that yanks you back to one childhood moment. To knees in mud, to a locker room, to an auditorium under lights. It chooses your specific ache. If your fear is darkness, the lights pulse and thin. If it is spiders, a shadow web blossoms in the corner. If it is falling, the floor tilts in your mind. If it is judgment, a crowd materializes behind your reflection, faces blurred but loud. The elevator adapts to you. It reads the ledger and stages a scene tailored to make you small. You speak, but your voice is not steady. You demand to know what it wants. It answers in the language of echoes. You are shown every time you told yourself you would be braver tomorrow. You are shown the future you fret about, dense with ifs. The core question arrives, simple and bright as a blade. Will you let it have you? Or will you use this box to practice leaving? The elevator becomes confessional. There is nowhere to look away. Level 4. The fear speaks like someone you once loved. It mimics the cadence of reprimand. It knows your flaws by name and wears them like medals. You watch it point out the angles where you failed to be you. There is cruelty in its precision. You hear lines you have heard before, parents, teachers, ex-lovers, recycled into a more dangerous form. It folds those voices into a chorus. You think of all the ways you hid. You built small doors inside yourself. The fear is patient with the architecture of your avoidance. You imagine the worst-case scenario and it hands you rehearsed endings. It comforts you with inevitability. You feel a dip in your stomach. It is a trap and also a mirror. Staring back, you see where the fear has power. In your belief that it is truthful. Belief is fuel. You test it. You whisper, barely audible, a single counterfactual. Maybe this is not the end. The elevator answers with silence that stretches like elastic. Silence is also a kind of voice. Your mind fills it. You remember something small, one act of defiance that worked once. One moment you did not listen to the voice that told you to stop. You breathe into that memory like wind into a small crack. It widens. Level 5. You make a choice. You can let the box become a tomb of hypotheticals. Or you can treat it like a crucible. You start with your body. Feet on the floor. Fingers splayed. You ground yourself to the instant. You name the fear aloud. It does not vanish when you say its name. But naming it changes your relation to it. Words organize chaos. You claim the syllables. You are not ashamed for trembling. You are not alone for being scared. You call for help again. This time your voice is steady enough that the recorded response feels thinner. You test the emergency hatch with reason. You listen to pipes, to cables, to the city's distant pulse. A plan forms from small, pragmatic operations. If you cannot fix the lift, you can survive the lift. You fold time into tasks. Breathe for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. You count tiles, rivets, scuffs. You tell yourself 6 truths. You tell yourself 1 lie to buy calm. The fear presses its face to the glass. You do not flinch. You lean into the friction between your pulse and its whisper. Every breath is an act of rebellion. You practice speaking up by practicing sentences you fear to say. You do not have an audience, but your voice becomes an instrument of rehearsal. The elevator, once a box, becomes a theater where you rehearse the next version of yourself. Level 6. You dig, not under the floor, under the memory. You ask why the fear has such leverage. You trace its lineage to one night, one hallway, one line that scalded. You see the small child inside you who believed that mistake equaled doom. You speak to that child. You tell them the endings are not as permanent as they seemed. You forgive yourself for the things you were convinced were unforgivable. Forgiveness is not mercy from outside. It is a tool you hand yourself. You cut the cords of narrative the fear built. You choose new verbs. Did you fail once? You learn. Did you embarrass yourself? You survived. You look at the reflection again. Now the figure is softer, less monumental. The room does not shrink. Your relation to it shifts. Power is not removed, it is redistributed. Fear still exists. It is allowed to be small and raw. You do not need complete absence. You need proportion. You practice saying no, quiet, urgent, definitive. You test boundaries with gentle force. You feel the air moving through the elevator differently now. It is not the same box as before. Level 7. Time loses its tyranny. Minutes are now vectors of movement, not verdicts. You hear a distant thud. A rescue team, or a building settling, you cannot tell. The lights steady. The emergency voice returns, now human and a little apologetic. We have located you. Stay calm. You are already quieter than before. The door opens with a sigh. Sunlight slants into the metal like a literal answer. You step out. The hallway smells like coffee and fluorescent days. People move past with ordinary, indifferent purposes. You imagine telling them what happened. You may tell them the whole truth. You may tell them one small version. Either way, the elevator has altered a scale inside you. Your worst fear did not disappear. You carried it back into the lobby. But the weight shifted. It fits into one hand now instead of swallowing you. You are slightly different, more tempered, less credulous of the scripts that fear repeats. A passerby asks if you are okay. You are, not because nothing happened, because something happened that taught you could act anyway. You smile, a small, practiced thing. It is not a cure. It is proof. Proof that you can enter the room where the fear waits and leave holding your voice. You walk away with the memory of the box and the shape of the shadow. You keep the lesson like a map. The next time the elevator halts, you will know the route out. You will know the simple acts. Naming, breathing, forgiving, speaking, walking out.